Now I believe that our audio is live, so welcome everyone who is on YouTube. I don't know how it works, and I think there's one concurrent viewer, so welcome. You were just seeing Kate's face and hearing my voice. This is very strange. I'm gonna try to figure out how you can see me. We promise we practiced this. It doesn't seem like we did. I'm looking at the camera, even though nobody on YouTube can see me, but the folks here on Zoom live can. So, Kate, since they can see you, and why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself again?
Okay, so yeah, I am Kate McCormick, Kathleen McCormick, and I'm a first year PhD student at Cornell in the developmental psych program. Before I was here, I was a lot of other places. The last 2 years, I was at University of Illinois as a project lab manager, and that's how I met Dustin. Before that, I spent 2 years in Boston as a research coordinator at Brigham and Women's Hospital. And then before that, which now feels like ages ago, I was at Cornell for my undergrad in human development. And so, just kind of a quick plug for anyone who's applying to grad schools. That's my recent area of expertise. So, we're also going to be kind of doing a practice interviews for people in the upcoming weeks. So, if you are an interviewee or something like that, we're happy to help with any advice or things that you would need.
I am almost there. I'm almost at the point where you can see me. I am just trying to crop the screen. So,
Do you
Kate.
want me to mouth your whatever you're saying? I'll mouth.
Yes, that would not be weird at all, but it would be totally on brand for things that we do. Um, so as I'm trying to figure this out, my name is Dustin Harridan, and I'm a 6th year graduate student. I'm kind of like at the end in the clinical community program. So I am looking at what are these next steps that I'm going to be doing. So that is really fun. I have done these R groups in our department a few times, and I have loved them. This is something that I enjoy doing a lot. It is something that I want to do more of, and hence Kate and I putting this on and doing this. So we're really glad that we're able to do this, and I think people can see me on YouTube now. So I swear I had this all figured out beforehand. Um, but this is what you get when you're dealing with graduate students and us.
It's free. Okay.
It's free. Yeah, yeah. So I started working with R when I first got to my program, and I did a workshop and I absolutely loved it. And then I never looked back. I uninstalled SPSS and I was like, never again. Um, Hopefully, I can do that for some folks here today. We'll see. But so the general structure of what this is going to look like, and as you're viewing this maybe later on, we'll have separate videos to just go over certain sections and topics as we move forward. And what we want to do is keep this as live and as realistic as possible. So we have sent out some data sets to folks beforehand, and these will be linked later on in the description, but you can check it out on our Twitter. We are at can_grad. See, I'm good at promoting us. We'll see. And this is going to be as live as possible. We want this to be a realistic workshop where a lot of times you go into a workshop and you're going to learn specific skills, but oftentimes it's not just the code that you want. You want to figure out how to solve those problems and what you do when you get an error message. Where can you go and what do you do? And so Kate and I have prepared very little for this because we want, not in that way. We care about your time and we want to make use of it. Don't make that face, Kate. Uh, and so because we want us to work through the problems as we're going, because I think that is a very useful skill that isn't often taught more formally, and we're going to be formally informal, I guess, is that should be our tagline. We're formally informal, or just informal. Who knows?
We have prepared, of course.
We have prepared. Yes, we have
It's
structured
not
this
specific line by line code.
exactly. Yeah.
So
And the goal of using R, and one of the reasons why I have really enjoyed it, and Kate is slowly appreciating it more and more, I think. Is that a fair thing to say?
I like it a lot better now than I did 3 months ago. And I struggled with it a lot in the last 3 months. So I would say that like I used to really struggle with liking R because I was struggling, but then I began to enjoy the struggle, I guess. And if you're pre-grad school or in grad school, you can probably relate to that.
And yes, so it is a struggle. We get that. This is learning a whole new language, and learning languages is not easy. It's not very straightforward, and something that you can just pick up in a weekend or in a workshop. It's something you continue to work on. But one of the main things that is so great about this is that it's a way to future proof your work. And one of the reasons why I have really enjoyed using R is that I realized in some of my initial projects that I would be like in SPSS or organizing data or doing certain things, and then I would take a break or I would submit something and I'd come back to it and I'd be like, what in the world did I do? What were the steps that I took? And R really situates yourself to do that, to write down those steps, to have those steps there. Because like one thing that I like to say is that you are your own worst collaborator, and future you is going to hate past you if you don't have this structure. And maybe some of you have experienced this, maybe some of you haven't. And we hope that you won't need to hate your past self for data reasons. You can do that in other ways. That's okay. We're not saying not to do that. Don't do that. Just kidding. I'm a clinical psychologist. Okay, we're getting back to it. Just having that future proof so that you can pick right back up where you left off and you know exactly all the steps. One of the other great things about R, I mean, you're here, so you probably know that, or you've been told that R is cool and great. One of the things that I really like is that the data live by itself. It's a separate entity that you are pulling in the data from your data set from wherever, and it's not being touched. Whereas in SPSS, if you compute a new variable, if you delete a column, it's gone. Where in R, it's all in your environment, but the raw data is untouched. And that's what our goal is, so that you can pull in the data, that you can run the code, you can do the steps that you want to do, and then later on, you can copy paste that into it. Like you can move your whole file, give it to somebody else, and they can do exactly what you did. And I think that is what is really cool. So I realized that I could go on and on about R. Kate, is there anything you want to save me from at this point?
Just a quick definition for people who don't know what open science is. So that's the movement focused on like, some of the problems in science and social. I mean, the open science movement kind of started in social science, so and psychology. So with a focus on like being able to replicate results and being transparent with your data. And R is a really, great tool for that. That's, one of the big things and big, along with like your own, this makes your life easier. It's also just a good investment in open science. So if you see us reference open science, that's what we're referring to.
Yeah, and we talked about if maybe in the second day, if we have some time, we'll be able to talk a little bit about that and how this situates within the open science framework and what that means. And again, we're in the world of psychology, so that is usually the lens that we bring to this. We do think that these skills are transferable across and just speak to data and structures of projects. So we will go ahead, and that was a very long-winded introduction. If you know any psychologists, you know that is what they do. We like to talk. So why don't we go ahead and transition to actually using R? I think that's what you all came here for. Sound good? Kate, can you be my audience and give some like...
Sounds great.
There you go. Okay.
Yeah, if anyone has any questions, again, just like throw it in the chat. It looks like we've got a lot of thumbs up.
Oh, good. I have decided not to look at those.
Oh, okay.
I like the way I had to structure so that the YouTube stuff works. I can't see that.
Oh, okay. So I'll also let you know when you're being applauded.
Thank you. Yes, please applaud for me. Everything that you do in the chat, Kate has to do.
No, we're not going to Jeb Bush this. All right.
Okay. So we are going to start with opening RStudio. So if you haven't downloaded it already, you can go to rstudio.com and download that really quick. I can just show you what that process briefly looks like. So there is RStudio. It's a broader company that works really nicely. It's an awesome organization. If anybody who's employed at RStudio is watching this, please give me a job after I graduate. So you can just go navigate to products, RStudio, and then you'll be able to download the RStudio desktop for your appropriate workstation. When it comes to downloading R, usually it seems a little bit trickier and more complicated, but once you get the steps, it feels pretty straightforward. So R is an open source software. It's free. You can navigate here. And usually if you've used open source software before, you know that it's pretty bare bones. But again, it shows you what it needs to show you. So you're on the main R page. You can download R here. And you'll have all of these different links. And the reason why there are different links is because there are different locations as to where the server basically lives. And this will then be the server that you reference. You don't have to, that your program will reference to go and look for certain things. So just to make it the fastest for you, you usually choose the one closest to your current location. It can be changed, and it's not really a big deal where it is for the things that I have done. I haven't run into any problems. So I will go ahead, and once you have that, you can open up RStudio. And I tried to make this so that there is a, let's see, hang on. So that this looks like what you should be seeing with your own stuff. And Kate disappeared, and so it might just be pictures of me on YouTube, and that's okay. I'm sorry, Kate. I couldn't figure that out.
Anything. Something, if you're logging into this, sometimes I do like half screen if you don't have a second monitor, which, who does? You half screen Zoom and then half screen RStudio is how I personally learn.
Yeah, so you can do that and pin us to either side. You will see this is usually what happens when you open RStudio, and I don't usually work within R. It is not something fun to look at, and there's a lot of more capabilities within RStudio that I really enjoy using. So this is what will happen when you open up RStudio first, or you may have already done this and you have other things open. But one thing that I want to do at the beginning, and to show everyone what you can do and what you're able to do, is customize RStudio for yourself. I think this is the most fun part for me. So you're going to go up here to Tools, Global Options.
Sorry, just a quick, your screen, it's visible on YouTube, but not on Zoom.
Got it. Thank you so much. That would be really important for me to share with you all who are actually here. Let me do this. Now you should be seeing
There we go.
There we go. We're all good now. Thank goodness. Let me see. So now we have my desktop open. You should be able to see, now navigate to Tools up in the top, go down to Global Options, and what we want to first focus on is the appearance. I think this is fun. This is where you can spend a lot of time and figure out what kind of theme you have or what you like to use. So feel free to pick another. You can be like a real coder and have a nice dark screen. Usually that's what I like to use. So feel free to mess around with whatever font you want. Get the font size how you like it. I have it zoomed in just a little bit more, and I can zoom in more if it's difficult to see. But there's also, people have just made themes for R and RStudio. So this RS themes, there's other options in what you can get, and it looks really fun. And just make it your own. I think this is one of the things that oftentimes when you open RStudio, it feels overwhelming just because of the blank slate that it has. And if you take ownership of your program, this is yours. So usually I like the darker backgrounds with some of the like brighter fonts. Kate, what do you usually like to use?
I used to really love the chaos theme, but let me pull up mine to my current.
That's a good one. I like chaos too.
Yeah, I like the dark blue background. Again, like, I don't know why. It's become a lot easier. I'm not someone who usually goes to night mode, but it's easier to catch things when I have my, I have Cobalt as my theme.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah, I think that's really pops.
There you go. Yeah, let's see. So we can go ahead and hit OK. And I go to dark like layout and background pretty consistently. So it's just easier for my old person eyes, I guess. I think I'm just a lot older now, it feels. Okay, so what are some themes that folks have on live Zoom here? What are some themes that you really like, or one that you picked?
Ooh, Dracula.
Ooh, let's see that one.
Got another chaos.
Another chaos?
Well, yeah, love it. Those are my two favorite. Dracula's
a good one.
Ooh, Merbivore. Wait, what's Merbivore?
Ooh, I don't know.
And then Tomorrow Night.
That one's nice. It's kind of spooky. Oh, and
I just thought they should do holiday theme ones. That would be pretty fun.
They do. I think like some of these ones that other folks have put together, this like RS themes, is one that I downloaded. I thought.
Ooh, Tomorrow Night 80s. That's pretty cool. And Material. I'm a big fan of all of these. I also, one of my favorite things in R, and we'll get when we go through ggplot session, is just like messing around with the colors and styles. And that's when I really began to love R, when I realized I could do more fun things with it. Not for, open science, but
no, why would you do that? All right, we're gonna go with, I think I chose Chaos or Cobalt. No, Chaos, because it doesn't have the blue background. One of the other things that I want to orient us to is back in the tools, go to global options, and these in the general box here, there is this workspace section. And if you've used R in the past, you may have, when you close out of a window, it asks you if you want to save the .rdata file. And what that does, and it is useful as a tool when you have such massive data sets that it takes a while to load into R and like get that in there. But a lot of the things, at least that I work with, I don't have that problem. So I don't need to have this like stored cache of the data file. And so what I advise people to do, and what in all of my workshops, is to take this save workspace to .rdata on exit to never, because then this promotes reproducibility, and it requires your environment and all of the things that you stored will be taken away each time. So it trains you to be explicit about the steps that you make, so that each time you can get back to that same part. Whereas if you have that saved, then it will load in a lot of other things that you may or may not have been wanting there. And it's just a useful thing to do. So you can have this change workspace to never is usually what I go with. You can have it ask you if you are working with larger data sets, but I usually have that checked to never. And so that will promote this, like, having a more open science, having that more reproducibility oriented workflow. So we can go ahead and save that. And let me, Kate, I saw a couple chats coming through. Is everything going?
So we have a question. Is there a reason you have the wraparound option under other unselected?
Oh man, you folks are very, so this right here, is this what we're?
Yes, I believe so.
I do not know. I thought I had everything back to how it was if you were just to download it directly, but it does seem, I think it has to do with just the way that the code is presented. So when you are tabbing through and when you're writing your code, it will wrap around, meaning it will go to the next line instead of sometimes if you've worked on like a text document, it just keeps going off the side. So I don't know. I don't think that doesn't seem to affect the way that the code is run or presented.
It could affect your like printout for RMarkdown. I know sometimes mine got cut off, so that's just something we will talk about RMarkdown later, but I would want it to wrap around, I would think.
Yeah, so I can check that. Good eyes, good catch. Other questions that folks have at this point, or other thoughts or new themes that they found that they really like. No, we're doing good.
Move forward.
Okay. So the next step that we do here is orienting ourselves to what these different boxes are in R. One of the other things, if you are working in R quite a bit, there are lots of puns, and you'll see that in a lot of the library packages that people try to be funny when it comes to that. So you will see that right now we have 3 sections. We have 3 windows open. The first is the console over here on the left. We then also have the environment up in the top right. And then there's usually, I think it defaults to files here in the bottom right. So you will see these 3 panes when you open R. What each of these do, so the console is basically the brain of of R, and it shows what code you're running, what you're doing, and that is where things are executed. So this is, you can type anything, you can do simple math here, like add addition or subtraction, and it will compute those for you. You're allowed to do those, and this is not saved. The way that the console goes is, this is where things are executed. It is not where you save your code. There is the environment pane up in the top right. This is where you'll see as we move forward, this will populate with the objects that we create. So our data sets, or if we compute things, will all live in this environment pane. And you'll see, we'll revisit that as we go. The other down here is the files or plots. Once we get into using ggplot and later on, we'll see that plots will become important, and we'll be able to see what our plots look like. The files tab I don't necessarily go to and look at very often, only in special cases. This is our working directory, so you get to see all of how I have my file structured. Don't look. Close your eyes. Don't look at it. Just kidding. This is where you have all of your files. So your working directory, meaning where is R looking? Where is our program that we have right in front of us right now? Where is it looking to go to find these files? And what are we doing with that? Let me see 1 second. I think I'm just checking YouTube. For some reason it put me away. I don't know where I went on it. Let's see. 1 second. Oh, there we are. Okay. I think we are good. We'll see how this works. So now we have these three components, but then you may be thinking like, well, where do we write our code? What do we do? Where is this? And that is a great question. This is where we're going next. What you will want to do is up in the top left, there is a new file section, or you can go to File, New File. Here we see that there are lots of options for creating files, and this is where our code will be. You can see there is a R script, we have an R notebook, and we have an R Markdown. Those are going to be the three main components to writing in R. What is the R code? I'm going to open all three just to show you what they look like, but you don't have to at this point. So again, I'm going to File, or you can hit the little plus sign that will open up a new document. So we have the R script open, we have an R notebook, and we have an R Markdown. When you open R Markdown, and R Markdown is what we are going to be focusing on. We will be using R Markdown because I think it has a lot of capabilities and unique things. So when you open a new R Markdown file, it is going to ask for a title. And this is the title of the document. Later on, we'll get to what that all means. But for right now, you can name it the R Workshop. And it will default to using HTML. Again, this is something we'll talk about later, so you don't need to worry about it right this second. But you can have it just default to HTML. Now you will see that there are, at least on my screen, we have these three documents. The first being the R script. This is a very bare bones text file. This would be the same as opening up a notepad document on your computer and